Alexa, what's the weather? Welcome to Born to Ramble. I have to warn you, I am on a tear today. I'm not even wearing clothes. So, why am I not wearing clothes? I'll tell you why. When I started this podcast thing, I thought, oh, I can only record on the days that I look pretty and I feel put together. And then I saw a video of a guy named Rick Rubin who looks like he just stepped out of a bus stop. Rick Rubin, haters gonna hate. I don't hate you. You're my inspiration. But I just said to myself after I saw your YouTube thumbnail, why am I putting so much effort into my appearance when other people are helping people manifest their destiny and they don't look like they put a lot of effort into their appearance. And that's really what we're hoping for, right? We all want to be successful without putting on this armor of phoniness. So here I am. I'm also wearing headphones today, and I don't know why. I saw some other people wearing headphones, and I thought, well, I don't have some big earmuff headphones, but I do have these that came with an MP3 player that I bought a long time ago. So I'm just wearing them. I'm just real grumpy today. Real grumpy. Instead of just complaining about the job report, I have some other things to complain about. So the first thing I want to complain about is this platform called Skool. So I'm trying to get on Skool because I want to teach creative writing because I'm a creative writing teacher. I've been writing stories since I was 3 years old. My first story was called Happy the Cat. Okay? Spelled H-A-P-E. That's pretty sophisticated for a 3-year-old. Maybe I was 4. I don't know. Anyway, I teach a creative writing class right now, but I have to go there, and I don't get paid a whole lot. So I would like to take this format, I would like to take it online so I can teach more people and make more money and not have to deal with, the job report. It's at first it was funny. And it was making for great storytelling fodder. But at this point, I'm just are you serious? I do have an interview tomorrow. I'm going to go to it. I'm going to make an effort on my appearance. So anyway, back to Skool. I tried to set up a class on there, and then I made a post about my class. And I immediately got a private message that said, you can't do self-promotion. And I thought, how do you get people to join your class? But I've got to tell you, I'm a little bit upset right now with Skool for disciplining me, because all I did was say, I am teaching a creative writing class, and if anyone wants to be in it, that would be so cool. And they're like, no, you can't do self-promotion. But meanwhile, there's 10,000 posts about how I got 10,000 followers in 30 days. And then you watch the video and they never tell you what they're actually selling. They're just like, hey, here's me in my Under Armour outfit and my huge muscles, and I'm really good looking, and I got a whiteboard and a microphone. And yeah, I'm not self-promoting. What is the deal with all these videos telling you how to get more followers? So here's the bottom line about why my class creative writing is so important. And I swear to God, I'm not even trying to make a sale right now. I'm trying to tell you something without verging into a conspiracy theory. So everything is turning into AI. If everything is digital and if everything is AI, and one day the power goes out or one day the internet goes out and you can no longer access anything, what are you going to have? Do you even have books in your house? Well, I do. I'm not going to tell you my address because now you're like, I got to get to that house because she's the only person that has anything of value. I have books, and I have notebooks upon notebooks of actual written stories that I have written with these hands. These hands. I should cite a song by Jewel right now. These hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they are my own. And so anyway, I think the reason that teaching creative writing is so important right now is because I want to teach people not only to use their hands to write, because there is a hand heart mind connection that happens when you write with your actual hands and your actual brain, but there's also so much. It's so important to write your story down because you don't know what is going to last after all this is over. I'm not too concerned about leaving a legacy, but that's because I already have a written legacy. I have buckets and buckets and buckets of a written legacy that I am going to leave to my son. I mean, whether it's in the form of Christmas letters or my diary or the millions of stories that I've written, I have something to leave to the physical world. And I think that's pretty important. And I know there are a lot of people right now who are probably like me, and you're just like so sick and tired of the rules of the world and being boxed in and pushed around and like, this is how you have to behave at the office. You got to put on a real shirt and real pants, and you got to walk around and say you're excited that you just landed this new job as a business analyst. I'm not excited. You're not excited. Every time I go on LinkedIn, I feel like I'm being gaslit. Oh, I'm excited to announce that I will be joining the team at TNT Outfitters. And I'm thinking, really? Are you? Are you really excited? What's your definition of excited? I bet you're not. I bet you're not. What's the most exciting thing about your job? Do you get cupcakes from Walmart once a month? And do you have to feign excitement about that? That's not a gift. That's abuse. So what I'm trying to say is people, they get pushed into these jobs because the world convinces us, and it's true, because you need money to survive in this world. You got to do this shit for 2/3 of your life in order to support yourself. And the only thing you have to give us in exchange is your time, your happiness, your energy, your ambition, and a little bit of your personality too. So what's left? There is something left in there. And I'm telling you, it's hidden inside your heart. And I can help you bring it out with my creative writing classes where we actually write with our hands on literal paper. And the best part about writing is that you might be able to find the voice again that you lost when you were a little person. You might have been a little person and you had great dreams and ambitions. And your parents were like, you can do anything you want to. And then maybe you went to college and then you figured out like, I got to get a job to pay for the home that I would like to have. Well, but what does that mean? That means that your job is going to take a lot of your time, and you're going to have to just keep stamping down your dreams farther and farther into your heart that's getting blacker and harder. And the distance between your head and your heart, where your dream lives, it's going to get further and further because you're going to have to use your head to do your job, and you're going to get further and further detached. And then your dreams, you don't even remember your dreams. What dreams? You'll say, oh, my dream was to go on a Carnival cruise. Was it? Or did you just see a lot of commercials? Anyway, writing is super important. So today, because I'm such a delight to be with, I just want to skip right into my story. So if you watched last week, you will have heard a story called, I don't even know what it was called. I think it was called I passed out on an airplane and ruined everyone's vacation or something like that. So this is part 2 of that story. So after that happened to me, I had to see a bunch of doctors, and one of them was Edgar. Or I didn't know him yet, but one of them was I had to get an EEG. And if you don't know, an EEG is different than an EKG. An EEG is when they put a bunch of electrodes on your head and they monitor your brain activity. It was a very strange test. So this is my story that I'm introducing as Edgar, my EEG, and nobody wants your stinking job. An immersive experience about getting an EEG, and Edgar, my EEG technician. I also want to tell you that the story I read to you last week about the incident that pushed me into this appointment with Edgar, when that happened, I immediately started writing everything because I thought, this is bananas and I need to document everything. So I just am telling you that because I hope you're thoroughly impressed that I wrote a whole coherent story in such a state. And I believe that is a testimony of my skills as a writer, and even more evidence why you should take my creative writing class. I want to read you this story. So, as I said, this is part 2 of the story that I shared with you last week. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. When I arrived, Karen, the receptionist, was on the phone, but she waved me forward and mouthed to me, "ID and insurance?" She kept talking while typing my information. I heard her tell the person on the phone that someone had gone to get coffee and she assumed he'd be back, but you never know with him. She hung up and turned to me. "Do you ever have a day at work where—" She paused and pursed her lips. "Just nothing goes right?" "Oh, I lost my job," I said. "It's wonderful." "That does sound wonderful," Karen winked at me. "Okay, honey, you're all set. Just take a seat and someone will be out to get you." It was 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday, and I'd been awake since 5:30 p.m. on Friday. I just had to stay awake a little while longer. A man in black scrubs walked toward me, but didn't say anything, just kept walking closer, not breaking eye contact. I leaned forward thinking, he must be coming for me. And then, is he an employee? Or is he just a strange man? "Are you Nikki?" "Yes." "I'm Edgar. I'll be doing your EEG today, so you can follow me." We walked through 2 heavy doors separating the waiting room from the rest of the hospital. He spoke softly in a monotone voice, so I had to keep up with him to hear everything he was saying. "This'll take a long time," he said, "so if you need to go to the bathroom, I can take you there now." "No, I'm good. I'm ready." We continued down a pale yellow-beige hallway. Everything was yellow-beige, not lemon or butterscotch, not even tapioca. There is no color to describe it other than pale yellow-beige. So visually bland that it doesn't even have a real name. The linoleum, the walls, the doors, even the placards by the doors, MRI and lab, were pale yellow beige. Edgar stopped at a door labeled, you guessed it, EEG. He unlocked the door with a key, and inside, more pale yellow beige. The room was bisected into a front part with 2 chairs, a bed, and what I presumed to be the EEG machine because hundreds of tiny wires were hanging from it, and the back part, which looked like an office with a desk, chair, and computer. "You can sit here." Edward gestured to one of the floors next to the bed. He sat in the other. "So," he said, "I just need to ask you some questions." He wore faded black scrubs and black Hoka sneakers. No wedding ring. His hands were soft and smaller than you'd think. He had great hair for a man his age. Thick, light gray, salt and pepper, matching facial hair, and glasses with transparent frames. As he began talking, I noticed he had pretty nice teeth. "Did you sleep last night?" "I didn't sleep. My doctor said I wasn't supposed to sleep." "Okay," he said to himself as he wrote on the stack of papers. "No sleep. I just ask people because half the time they don't pay attention to what they're supposed to do." "Sure." "Have you ever had an EEG?" "No." "Do you know why you're getting an EEG?" "I think I had a seizure." "Think she had seizure," he said aloud as he wrote. "Did you suffer any injury or any type of brain trauma?" No, I think I was just stressed." "Okay," he said. He wrote and spoke, "just stressed. Do you know when it happened?" "February 12th. "Okay, good," he scribbled. "I saw a neurologist last week, and he mentioned that it might have just been because I was sitting up in the plane. I passed out a bunch of times." "Passed out a bunch of times," he wrote and said aloud. "Like fainting spells," I continued, "or syncopes, the neurologist calls them. But he said since my body couldn't get to the floor, my blood couldn't start rushing through my body because, the airplane seats are like, I leaned back like I was in a straitjacket, like you're in a tiny telephone booth or something." "So this happened on a plane?" "Yes." "And do you fly often?" "Oh, maybe twice a year." "So—" "Oh, no, I wasn't stressed about the flight. I'm not afraid of flying." Edgar got up to put the clipboard on the desk at the back. A tray of tools was perched next to the EEG machine, sort of like the tray a dentist has, full of teeth scrapers, but this tray held 2 types of squeeze bottles, a hairbrush, a big fat red pencil, hair clips, bobby pins, and latex gloves. Edgar reemerged from the back. "They have this camera on us now," he pointed to the wall behind me, "so I have to start that once we're ready to put the electrodes on." but I'll explain it to you first. Am I going to fall asleep during this? You can. Are you tired? Not really. I might get tired after I sit here a while, though. I'm tired, too, he said, flat. I wondered if he was on the spectrum. Yesterday was a busy day, and I worked 12-hour shifts. Well, 12 and a half with a mandatory half-hour break. Yikes! I don't know if it was just because I hadn't slept the night before or Edgar's deadpan delivery, but I started laughing. I worked 3 12s, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those are long days. I thought it'd be good, only 3 days a week, but I'm starting to wonder if it's worth it. I work every weekend. Oh, no, you miss so much. And I can only take 24 hours off every 6 months. What? The laughing continued. Edgar was turning into the protagonist in a dark comedy. They only approve 24 hours every 6 months. That's terrible. Jobs are terrible. Another example of jobs looking a lot like incarceration, this time in a hospital, which should be a great place to work. My 19th job was in a hospital kitchen in my hometown, and I stayed there for 4 years. The hospital had everything for employees. You'd never have to leave. You could drop your keys off in the morning and they'd do an oil change and car wash. They had dry cleaning, discount movie and concert tickets, mail service, a computer lab, which is supposed to be for the doctors and researchers, but my key card worked too, so. Edgar's hospital sounded more like an Amazon warehouse. I lost my job in January, I said. I'm not getting another one. He looked at me but didn't say anything, and then, I'm going to be 62 in October. I could start collecting Social Security, but I'll get 30% more if I work 5 more years. Not worth it, I said. I don't think I can do this job for 5 more years. Do not give them 1 more minute. Once I turn 62, it'll be like 1 day at a time. He looked at me with his eyes wide to let me know this was serious. I noticed his facial hair was groomed, and looking at him again, his transparent frames plus the clipped beard, I imagined he could be quite fashionable in regular clothes. Edgar turned back to his hairdressing tray. I have 1 bad day and I will not be back. He was moving things around on the tray and then fingering the wires on the EEG machine, but didn't appear to be actually doing anything. All the tools were still on the tray. All the wires were still hanging there. My aunt retired after being a nurse her entire life, and do you know what she did? What? She just called one day and said, I'm not coming anymore. Well, I have a strategy. He lowered his voice. You know the big guy, he gestured to somewhere out there, outside this tiny, pale, yellow-beige room. He takes off all the time, long weekends and summer, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So, he lowered his voice again, I'm just not coming in the week of Thanksgiving, and then I'll come back on Monday like nothing happened. I drew back my laughter, quiet enough to still hear him. He finally cracked a smile. And then if they fire me, well, they can't fire me. Who are they going to get between Thanksgiving and the New Year? He started whisper laughing, trying to keep a straight face for the camera. Who's going to train a new person? That is an excellent plan, I said. So yeah, just till after Thanksgiving. I'm going to turn the camera on now, so we have to watch what we say. Edgar went back to the office space again and continued talking to me, but it was hard to hear him from behind the glass. I heard muffled words and made out that they told him the camera was always recording, even when it wasn't on, but he couldn't find any evidence of that. This time, when he came back to the front where I was waiting, he added a little color to his voice. He stood before me like he was giving a presentation. I've turned the camera on, he said. We're beginning the test. And what is your name? Nikki? I laughed, confused. It's for the recording. He barely rolled his eyes and then looked to the camera with a fraction of a smile. Where are you? Washington Regional? What year is it? 2026. Good. I'm going to explain the test to you now. He grabbed 4 giant Q-tips and held them in my face. So I'm going to use these to apply this prep. He held up a white tube. He held up the big red pencil. I'm going to use this to mark off sections of your head where I'm going to place the electrodes, and then I use this. He held up a tub of something that looked like wax. It's stickier than toothpaste, but not so sticky it'll pull your hair out. He went on for a very long time about what he'd be doing with my hair, very serious and soft-spoken the entire time. It's sort of like the opposite of going to a salon. You're going to be pretty messed up when you leave here. I should be recording this, I said, thinking about the story I wanted to write about Edgar. Oh, no. No recording. He lowered his voice. Only they can record. Edgar worked in silence for a while, and I could feel him piecing through my hair and drawing with the red pencil. He said, what should we talk about? It's not as fun when you can't talk about your boss. I can tell you about my boss, I said. It was so bad I had a seizure and ended up here. It's a lot easier working on clean hair, he said, as if he hadn't even heard me, instead of hair that's packed full of blood, dried blood. What? But I guess if you're getting paid to do surgery, you can't be expected to clean up your mess. You do this on bloody heads? Oh, yeah, this is much easier. The outpatients are much easier. Like you. You came ready to go, followed all the instructions. Wait, what are the inpatients? People who are already here. Like someone might come in after an accident or meth withdrawal and the doctor wants to get a reading. They might have a head injury and go into surgery. Then they come to me after the surgery. Are you the only one who does EEGs? No, there are 5 of us, but I'm the only one on weekends, and I'm the supervisor. The supervisor. That is shocking, because it took me forever to get this appointment. Edgar went back to work for a while, and I closed my eyes. Closing my eyes more than a few seconds, I could feel the fatigue wash over me. Oh, he said, I just found out my cat has diabetes. Oh, no! I took her to the vet yesterday, so I guess I have to give her insulin shots every day. Oh, poor thing. She's 13, so she's a little older, but I hope she'll stick around for a while. My last cat lived to be 19. I haven't had much luck with cats, I said, recounting the lives and deaths of Aura, who had a stroke and died at 3, Marty, who left at 11 and never came home again, and Tasha, who I had to put down at 10 because of kidney failure that wasn't diagnosed until she could hardly breathe. I have Pete now, I said. He's a savage. And we got a puppy named Tootie. She's 5 months old. I had some little dogs who lived next door to me, and they would bark constantly. But that stopped when I figured out they were allergic to antifreeze. How do I know if my neighbor's dogs are allergic? Well, you don't ask, you just test it. And then he just carried on. Yeah, so after Thanksgiving, I'm not sure where I want to live. Maybe another planet. Are you from here? No, I came from Minnesota. I had a lawn care and snow removal business there. How did you end up here? He paused. I could feel it coming. Something about a woman. I knew it because he wasn't answering. I moved to Houston, Texas, he said. I waited for the part where something would bring him to Houston from Arkansas, but he said nothing more. Why do they always avoid it? Just tell the truth. So, but how did you come to Arkansas from Houston? Oh, my wife's job. After she retired, she thought it'd be nice to live on Beaver Lake. See, I told you. Your wife's retired? Yep. What did she retire from? Education. Oh, yeah, she's been everything. She was high up in college administration. She's been the dean, the president, even higher than that. Wow. So you can imagine the in-laws are not fun. I laughed. Why's that? Are they nerds? Well, they just, when the woman makes more money than the man, it's uncomfortable. Oh, I see. Happens to a lot of guys now, where the woman makes more. A lot of my neighbors, but these other guys, they just lie about it. Really? My mind flashed to my favorite Facebook page. Are we dating the same guy? Where women post pictures of guys they are dating, considering dating, or have dated, or worse, married. Then they give the details on whether or not the guy is decent, and 99% of the time, he's not. This page is where I learned about the term hobosexual, which is a guy who uses his charm to live with women because he doesn't actually have a home of his own. Hobosexuals often live with their mothers or have jobs that require a lot of travel. Oh yeah, so there's this guy in my neighborhood who tells everyone he owns a chain of banks. So I always ask him about it when I see him, but he still won't tell me the name of the bank. Edgar's phone beeped, the theme from Looney Tunes. Okay, he said, you're all ready. So I'll need you to not move too much because if these things come out, we'll have to start all over. Okay. He stood in front of me facing the bed. So I want you to get up, sit on the bed, swing your legs over, and then slowly lay down, and I'll guide your head onto the pillow. I got up and stood where he had been, slowly moved over enough to get onto the bed, and then reclined as slow as I could. Are you cold? Oh, yes, I'm always cold. Okay, let me put this blanket on you. He unfolded a thin blanket, more like a sheet actually, that had been on the foot of the bed and put it over me, tucking in my feet. Are you still cold? Yes, can I have another? He turned and rushed back to the office part, returning with another skimpy sheet like blanket and put it over me, this time tucking it under my shoulders. His phone beeped again. I'm going to turn the lights off and leave you here for 30 minutes. Go to sleep and I'll wake you up when it's over. I closed my eyes, but it was still too cold, and my mind was buzzing with every wild thing Edgar had said, trying to retain all his one-liners for a golden short story I'd write when I got home. The Looney Tunes theme played again. As I lay there, Edgar's phone went off consistently through the entire 30 minutes, each time striking me as funny. I mean, I hadn't heard from the Looney Tunes forever, but then I'd try to stifle my laughter in case it was messing up my EEG results. At the end of the 30 minutes, he came to take my blankets off, pulled the entire set of electrodes off of me in one fell swoop, and sent me off with my head covered in what felt like several wads of gum. I could hardly wait to get home to write this story for you. Edgar, on the other hand, was only on the second hour of day 2 of his 12-and-a-half-hour shift. How many other heads would he work on? How many times would he think about making it just 7 more months, just till after Thanksgiving? By the time Thanksgiving comes, I will have been, by definition, unemployed for almost an entire year, but I will have written at least a dozen more stories about the ridiculousness and idiocy of work and all the wonderful people trying to see their way out of it. The end. Thank you for sticking around for the entirety of this episode. I know that I am not well today. I'm hot, I'm grumpy, my money's running out. I don't know how to work Skool without getting in trouble, but I'm just gonna keep showing up because that's what all the bros say. That's what all the guys with the microphones say. I've got nothing more to say. That's it. Bye. Welcome to my fucking show, bitch. Test, shit, sandwich.